The Morgan Report with David Morgan. Discover how to build and protect your wealth at themorganreport.com.
David Morgan of themorganreport.com for the week ending 17 April 2026. But I thought I'd do something a little bit different this week. And what I'm going to do is dig into the archives of the Morgan Report. And I will just show you, as almost everybody knows, this is the landing page. You can get on our free reports, our free emails on step 1, step 2, documentary, step 3, if you want to get on the paid option. So paid option members log in right there, press the magic button, and it will log you in automatically. Of course, you can see, you have your name up there if you give us one. Obviously, I'm on the mastermind, and that's the highest service that we have. That's geared for fund managers and accredited investors mainly. We don't have very many on it, but they're pretty loyal, and we have some pretty good gatherings every month. So moving forward, we have the archives here. So if I click that button, we've been publishing for a very long time, as you well know. And I'm going to cherry pick one here from December of 2022. And you will see it load here pretty quickly. My machine's fairly fast. I am on Starlink now. So I'm just going to be kind of brief about this, but every month I start with a quote. I don't quote myself very often. This particular issue I did. You can take that with a grain of salt. Opening thoughts, that's the editorial. That's what I write every month. And of course, the team writes other parts of the report. I write almost every question to the editor. Most of those I answer individually, but sometimes we'll put them in the report. So you can see the outline here. It's kind of brief as far as what's on what page. But anyway, the editorial goes on, usually a couple pages, cover silver, cover gold, cover the economy. It just depends on what's happening that particular month. Looking at registered silver stocks in this particular report. Remember, this is from December of 2022. We wrote a great deal about energy in this particular issue, but this is what I want to focus on in this weekly perspective. And this is what we titled, See How Much Metal We Don't Have or Can Never Get. An open and shut case, look below for how many years of mining are required to fulfill the plans of the green movement. Phasing out fossil fuels cannot happen using existing technology. And I'm going to pause here and digress a moment, but myself and others have done a study on going solar. And I own some solar, so I don't want to be a hypocrite, but it's not the most efficient. It doesn't last forever, which means it isn't renewable forever. After 20 years or so, you have to replace the solar panels. And lastly, there's not enough silver to build solar out worldwide, not even close. So anyway, coming back to the article, sustainable energy types are looking to replace all internal combustion cars, trucks, ships, planes, railroads with electric power. And that's in a perfect world, but this is the basis that we're looking at this. This is more of a thought experiment. So just how much metal is needed to phase out fossil fuels? For copper, 6,700 million tons are needed. If you use the 2019, 20.4 million tons of copper were produced. So it would take 328 years using the 2019 copper production to reach the required copper amount needed to phase out fossil fuels. Think about that, 328 years. That's for copper. Let's go forward. Let's look at nickel. All right, for nickel, 1,352 million tons are needed. In 2019, we mined 2.61 in the world. It would take 518 years using the same rate of production or mining activity from 2019 to get the nickel required. Here's a fun one. How about lithium? 1,386 million tons are needed. In 2019, 0.86 million tons were produced. It would take 16,121 years using the 2019 rate to reach the amount of lithium needed. That one's skewed a bit because from that year till now, a big increase in lithium production, but nonetheless, you get the idea. Cobalt, 319 million tons. 2019, 0.144 million tons were produced at the rate of 2019, 2,213 years. Graphite, you get the idea now, 12,000 years. For silver, 121 years. So we've got to remember that for every 2,000 deposits discovered, only 1 or 2 become mines. The time taken from a discovery to become a mine is usually around 10 years. For every 10 producing mines, 2 or 3 will lose money and shut down. As a member of the Morgan Report, you now have data that very few are aware of. The ability to go all electric is a fantasy at this point, unless some type of quote-unquote free energy system is put into place. The current known technology is insufficient to meet anything close to what the Green Movement has stated as their mandate. So no hyperbole there. Of course, they stated they want to go all 100% electric on everything. I won't say they have. What I'm pointing out is there's no way that this can take place. So let's just hope for a breakthrough in the energy production, but with what's going on currently with the shutdown and reopen and shut and open of the Strait of Hormuz and all the disruptions that have already occurred with this situation with Iran, I'm not going to make a further comment. It's just not looking very bright going forward, even if things are resolved, which I doubt, but let's assume that they are. Even if it was resolved day after tomorrow, like next week, Monday or Tuesday, we would still have such disruptions already and depletion of the strategic petroleum reserves that the U.S. was draining to satisfy some of the demand that wasn't going through the Strait of Hormuz. We have depleted, let's say, our nest egg in a way, a petroleum nest egg, quite substantially. So I'll leave it there. Just giving an overview. Maybe I'll scroll down a bit more. I'll close out. But the blockchain brief that used to be written by David Smith, my daughter's taken that over. We've covered that because that is the new system we're going into. Company updates. We do always. Every company, we do it alphabetically because not everyone owns every stock. And that will finish off this week's weekly perspective. As I've said in the past, and most of you know, especially members, of course, because they read it every month. Until next month, wishing you health above wealth and wisdom beyond. Be back with you next week with another update. And if you want, get to support at themorganreport.com. Let me know if you like an update like this every once in a while. It might be worth looking back once in a while at, what our forward-looking ideas were at the time. May help, may not. Anyway, I'll be back with you next week with another weekly perspective.
The U.S. government debt is about to cross $37 trillion. That's not a typo. That's trillion with a T. Tariffs are being used to try and even the playing fields. Global supply chains are shifting. Inflation isn't going away. And the value of your dollar? It's quietly being drained while no one is really talking about this. The truth is, we're living through the early stages of a financial reset, whether anyone wants to admit it or not. And if you're still relying on mainstream headlines or financial advisors who just tell you to write it out, you could be blindsided when things really shift. That's where the Morgan Report comes in. For over 25 years, David Morgan has been helping investors cut through the noise. He tracks what actually drives markets, from precious metals and mining stocks to global debt and monetary policy, and show you how to protect and grow your wealth when the system is under stress. This isn't just about gold and silver. It's about having a clear-eyed view of where things are headed and making sure you're not caught off guard. The Morgan Report gives you real research, honest analysis, and strategies you can act on, even in a world of rising debt, unstable currencies, and economic uncertainty. Go to themorganreport.com today. Download your free report. Get informed, get ahead, and take back control of your financial future. Themorganreport.com, because $37 trillion in debt won't fix itself.